Another blow to America's electric car dreams. J.D. Power now slashing its forecast for electric cars by about 25%, taking down their estimates to just 9% of the market from 12% of the market. One reason more people are choosing hybrids or even sticking with or going back to gas. Mark Fields, the former Ford Motor Company president, CEO, and CNBC contributor. Mark, you know, this is a topic you and I have talked a lot about, and I get dunked on because, by the way, I bought an EV and I'm buying another one next week. I want to throw that out there because I can do that and have other cars. I drove back from Wisconsin on Tuesday, 14 hours, and I kept my eyes open. Counted 12 EVs the entire trip, 10 Teslas, 2 were charging, a Hummer EV and 1 Mustang Mach-E. Probably missed a few. But it's when you get out of the East Coast or California bubble, it is jarring. Because in California, Teslas are everywhere. In New Jersey, Teslas everywhere. A lot of Rivians now, too. When you go to the Midwest, they don't exist.
Yeah, well, listen, Brian, you know, we've talked about this before a lot. Early adoption happened early, obviously, for EVs, and that got a lot of attention, a lot of enthusiasm, not only from the automakers, but obviously from the government in terms of imposing their fuel economy restrictions, which really, they say they don't pick technologies, but they knew very clearly that to meet those requirements, you needed EVs. And early adoption is, I won't say it's easy, but it's a lot easier than mass adoption now. And you're starting to see that. You're starting to see consumers say, listen, you know, you need to solve a number of things to happen for these EV sales to take off. And first, there has to be more lower price models in the marketplace for consumers to afford. Secondly, as we talked about, the charging infrastructure has to be built out. It's in the process of that. But it not only has to be built out, Brian, it has to be in locations that consumers can see, just like gas stations. These things can't be, you know, a couple of chargers behind the target.
No.
The consumers have to see.
You nailed it. I drove on purpose, and people are going to think I'm weird, and I am, but that's for other reasons, is that, Mark, I drove through every, you know, the rest areas, the plazas, service plazas. I drove through, I had to stop at a few of them to get gas and do other things in Indiana, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Okay, in Indiana, I saw 1 Tesla charging. I took a picture and posted it. In Ohio, at Blue Heron, 1 Tesla charging. That was it. Everything else empty. And as far as I could tell, the majority of the Pennsylvania service plazas, the ones that if you're on the Pennsylvania Turnpike, you're not stuck to, but it's pretty doggone close, Mark, didn't have any charging at all. All we hear about is the billions going to the charging network. Where are they?
Yeah, and again, they have to be in very clear areas that consumers can see, because, you know, at the end of the day, this is also a bit of a PR game as well, which is you have to drive awareness, not only of EVs, you have to drive awareness of where you're going to be able to charge them. But then the third thing I was about to mention, Brian, which nobody really talks about right now, you know, if you look at the forecasters, I mean, even J.D. Power with their new forecast for this year, they still think by the time we get to 2030, you know, about a third, 1 out of every 3 cars will be an EV. But what people aren't talking about is the inconvenience factor of the charging time. And until that gets solved, and it will, in my view, with solid-state battery technology that's coming down the pike, but that's not going to be till probably, you know, middle of next decade when they're available in volumes.
You nailed it. Mark, sorry to jump in. You nailed it. Solid-state batteries. We're going to be able to charge a car in 5 to 10 minutes. That's a gas station time. By the way, on my drive back from Wisconsin, my longest stop, I just re-looked it up because I track everything because I'm a weirdo, Leslie, was 16 minutes. That's my longest stop, all in, filling up, doing other things, getting something to eat. Solid-state batteries, Mark, can do that. So does the U.S. By the way, give a shout out to your former company, Ford. If I was in a Ford F-150 hybrid, I could have done the 950-mile drive from Wisconsin to New Jersey and stopped 1 time for fuel. You can do 800 miles on a tank of gas in a hybrid pickup truck, assuming you're not driving like a ding-dong, right? What does Detroit have to do? Wait it out to solid state? I'll call that the Toyota strategy?
Well, I think they have to do, and you mentioned Ford, for example. I think their strategy is spot on, and they've pivoted their strategy. You know, their strategy is, listen, we're going to offer a lot more hybrids, a lot more plug-in hybrids. We're going to make it easy for the consumer to not only be able to experience an EV, at least a portion of the vehicle, but take away that range anxiety. So, I think what the automakers need to do is, expand their hybrid offerings, but at the same time, they have to have a full court press on how do they deliver a low-priced EV in which they're going to be able to make money. And listen, in the meantime, Brian, you've seen some of the figures for the automakers. You saw Ford the other day. They're going to take about a $400 million charge and maybe another $1.5 billion for impairments and asset write-downs on their EVs. That's the tip of the iceberg. Wait till you see not only the other automakers come out with that, but the next shoe to drop is going to be the supply base. So, it's really around developing products that people really want and value, offer a good hybrid lineup, and then work like heck to bring in those low-cost EVs, initially maybe with the current battery technology, but then they really have to work on solid-state battery technology to take away that inconvenience factor from the consumer, which nobody is talking about in terms of charging time.